jump in, man, and talk about Whiskey and Rain, which I love. It's probably one of my favorite songs you've ever done. It's got that real country vibe to it. It sounds to me like something I could hear like a John Anderson doing, or even like a Black Hawk, like, you know what I mean? Like that throwback kind of feel. Tell me about this song and what inspired you to put this one out.
This whole record, man, kind of, the mindset, or my mindset, and the whole way I wanted to record this record kind of came about during quarantine and doing Honky Tonk Tuesday, and really doing what I think a lot of us had to do, and that's just reflect. And everything got taken away from everybody, and all of a sudden we're, no matter what you do, you're stuck kind of back at the drawing board, or just trying to figure out, what in the heck just happened. how long are we going to be in this situation? So I think, I did what everybody else did, and it's kind of reflect and look back on things, and okay, when we come out of this, how do I come out of it stronger? What I want to do. We were already making this record, already had time slotted out to get in the studio, even before quarantine happened. So being able to dive more into the 90s, 80s, the music that inspired me to move to Nashville, kind of made me realize what was missing, and I think that a lot of the stuff in the beginning, I wasn't 100% authentically myself, and this record is. And I think a lot of that inspiration came from, looking up those John Anderson songs like I used to cover, and, Ronnie Millsap and Gary Stewart and all that stuff. And so I knew this is where the record was going to go. And Whiskey and Rain, we felt, was the perfect introduction to let fans and everybody see where this record's headed to, because like you said, it has that feel, it has that, Gary Allen, John Anderson type thing too. And those are the artists that made me want to pick up a guitar. So
I love it. I got some questions about the music video, because I dig the music video a lot, and there's a lot going on there. It's like a little film kind of thing. I want to start with the actual filming of it, because there's a lot of different, you start with just kind of chatting at the bar with the guy, and then you go to the business dude and you're getting kind of crazy. Then you go to the woman and you start doing karaoke. Now, as you're filming this stuff, all we hear is the song in the background. We don't see the conversations that are happening. But to me, it looks like a legit conversation. Did you guys really have like a script that you were following and talking? What kind of things were you actually saying while filming this?
We really didn't have a script. The only script we had was at the end with Hank and I at the very end. That was really the only script. Everything else, we just wanted to show the different levels of, Whiskey and Rain is a song about going through a hard time, but knowing that tomorrow is a new day. And we're going to hopefully wake up in the morning feeling brand new without a single cloud in the sky. I wanted to touch on, so we wanted to touch on the guy at the bar who was going through a breakup. Wanted to show the other side of that, where there's this young couple that just got married, and then the lady I'm doing karaoke with, her husband, I guess she showed me photos. This is where her and her husband met, and he's no longer there. So we didn't have any script per se. I just kind of try to draw from personal experiences during those times, and luckily we had some really great actors that were able to do the same thing, and we just kind of ad-libbed, honestly. So even if the music wasn't there, we were still talking about what we were meeting about in that scene, but there wasn't anything like written script wise.
So you mentioned my favorite scene, which is at the end, because it's so cool. And of course, you're standing there with Hank, and the line is, you'll wake up tomorrow and she'll be the first thing you think about, and life goes on. You'll wake up the next day and she'll be the second. Tell me about how that came to be a part of the video and that scene specifically, because it really is incredible.
Thank you, man. Sean Hagwell directed this video, and he's one of my favorite people to work with, him and his wife and their team. And I knew that he would bring a different thing to this video, because I knew that he didn't grow up really listening to a lot of the 90s country. We didn't grow up listening to the same music, but right. So I knew that he would bring something different. And him and I talked about, I said, if we could really channel those moments of what Tracy Lawrence did back in the day, and Randy Travis and Travis Tritt and all these guys with these videos, they had these, they were little mini movies, and like you'd watch and they'd be acting parts, and so I wish I could take credit for anything more than that, but everything else is Sean. Me and Sean met, and then he took everything that way, and I was just like, yes, that's exactly what we want.
Well, it's funny you say that, because it reminded me of, like, you remember the Travis Tritt Anymore video, and that's
exactly the one I've told him to watch.
It was, that's the vibe I got from it, man. And it really truly is an incredible video. So anybody watching this or listening to this, if you haven't seen the Whiskey and Rain video, You got to go see it because it does have those vibes. One more thing on the video, and then we'll move on. I want to talk about the album and all that too. But in the very beginning, the very first scene, you're sitting in the car, the rain's coming down, and it's your hometown radio station. Mm-hmm. And what is it? WPCV, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then I read a story as I'm, prepping for our interview, that the first time you ever got played was on your hometown radio station. You were in like high school, right? Is that true?
I was already out of high school, so I was actually playing. I'd go around and play these, or I'd give these little press packets, all these, country bars in Florida, and
sure.
and I'd be like, man, I'll play for free the first time. You're just trying to get booked, and so this place, Boots and Buckles in Lakeland, Florida, booked me to open for Jason Michael Carroll at the time, and I got off stage, man. I rehearsed for that thing like we were opening for the Grammys, like I was like, this is the big, yeah. And my grandpa, people always say, my grandpa always taught us that you never know who you're playing for, so always show up and be the best that you can. And so Sarah Michaels, a radio DJ on 97.5 WPCV, was in the audience and got an album of mine. And then like a couple of days later, I get a call that I'm being played on the radio, and I'm like, I don't even know how that works. And so that station in Lakeland started playing my songs and man, honestly, snowballed everything for me in Florida. We were already building things in Florida. I'm very fortunate to come from a town where, everybody was very supportive and always at, the little local bar shows I was playing. And so I think that with getting on radio and her taking a risk and playing a hometown kid, kind of all just met together and really snowballed everything for me. And so I wanted to give a little tip to the hat to them. And then I thought you were about to ask me, dude, I talk more about the flip phone than I do about anything else.
It's funny. I mean, I noticed the flip phone, which is pretty funny, obviously, but and maybe I guess you should talk about that. But no, I was interested because I was like, that's pretty cool that he's giving back to his hometown station. And then I did some more digging and found that, the DJ played you on the radio. And I thought that's really cool. Cause you know what? You don't have to do that. You've got #1 hits. So for you to stay grounded to your hometown and pay homage to that radio station. I mean, that's pretty cool of you, I thought. It's awesome.
I appreciate that, man.
Talk about the flip phone, though, because I got to know now.
We wanted it all. We filmed it, or Sean filmed it in this different texture to where it would look like more of a 90s,
right.
Early 2000s bar, or type of feel. And so he said, if we're going to do it, we need to go all the way. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, there wasn't iPhones in the 90s. And I was like, all right. So we got the flip phone out. And now I swear, man, everybody's like, where did you find a flip phone? I'm like, this is a fossil now, man.
You guys must have gone to a pawn shop or like Craigslist or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's it. What's funny is Michael Knox, Jason Aldean's producer, still uses a flip phone to this day.
Get out of here.
Will not. I was just with him at my buddy. He's producing my buddy Tim Montana's new record, and still has a flip phone, still rocking it, holding strong. So I knew if we couldn't find one, I knew Knox had a flip phone that we could use for sure. So
I love it. Let's go to the album. Is it going to be an album? Is it going to be an EP? Can you give me any details? I know you can't give me too much, but maybe a roundabout date we can look at, and maybe some other tunes we can expect as well.
Yeah, man. This whole album is really going to be reflective of my hometown, how I grew up. I really want people to get to know me better as an artist, as a person, and really, touch on a lot of things that I've never really touched on. I feel like I'm more hands-on on this record, writing wise, picking songs wise, cutting songs. We actually just decided, because we've been writing and recording so many songs, that we're probably going to do an EP, and that'll be announced sooner than you think. So there's some big collaborations on here, man, that all I can say is people aren't going to see it coming. And
I love it.
It's I'm really excited for it, man. We're wrapping up the last song on the EP, which like I said, has some good buddies of mine on a song that I just can't. I'm not good at, like, when I'm excited about something, I'm not.
You want to get
like
it out.
Yeah. I want to say it, man. I want to say it. So just know that there's some big surprises coming on this EP, and we'll be announcing it in a few months. So
I'm going to throw something out there, and it might get you in trouble, might get me in trouble, but I'm going to say Post Malone, because I know that you hung out with Post Malone. I know that he's got some countryside to him. We've seen it several times, rocking out to Shania Twain and stuff like that. Have you thought about working with Post Malone? Do you keep in contact with him, or was it kind of a one-off thing when you guys got to hang out?
I've talked to him a little bit after that. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I mean, that's definitely something that I would always be down to. I'm such a big fan of his, and I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but his musical talent and knowledge is so widespread. I mean, it's from rock to jazz to country. It's Post knows more about country music than a lot of people that are in the country music world does, and I got a lot of respect for that. And so I've always been a big fan of his, and I think a Michael Ray Post Malone collaboration would be something that would be cool, and I definitely would be all in. So
I'm here for it, man.
I'll make some calls, see what happens. Maybe
Let's do it. I got to call out a tweet. Let me see if I can find it here because I got my notes here in front of me. Where is it? Where is it? Sorry about that. Anyone else pregame to sad old country songs? So I saw that tweet from you, and I liked it, retweeted it because I'm all about that. And it's funny because my wife, she makes fun of me all the time. I'll be cooking in the kitchen and I got music going or whatever, doing something. And I got music going almost all the time. And my playlist that I make, she's like, why are you so sad? You know, you got a wife, you got 3 beautiful kids. Why are you so sad? And I'm like, I'm not sad, but I just feel it from my soul when those sad country songs come on. And I wanted to, cause I thought that was cool. You don't meet a lot of people who relate to that. So I dig it, man. Can you tell me, like, what are your go-tos? What are your favorites? Sad country songs, like a Garth, What She's Doing Now, something like that.
You just took the Garth one right out. What She's Doing Now is one of my all-time favorites. Does He Love You, Reba McEntire is, I think that's one of my favorite all-time written songs. We got, Everything That Glitters Isn't Gold. It's one of my favorite ones. When We Were Down to Nothing, Nothing Sure Looked Good on You. Rose-Colored Glasses, Might Be What I'd Say, etc. I mean, list goes on.
What Might Have Been.
What Might Have Been. I mean, yeah. I mean, I get. Listen. I'm with you. If you tell your wife if she thinks your playlist is sad, I'll send you mine. She'll be like, you need to call that guy.
Well, I love it too. So Whiskey Riff, I know you know the guys at Whiskey Riff, they got a shirt out that says sad country songs make me happy. When it came out, I was like, and purchase. I'm going to need that right now. That is mine.
Dude, it's so true, man. Even in the greatest mood, you still want to listen to a sad song. I don't know if it's because it makes you feel better that you're not that sad in that moment or what, but it's just that, man, it's why country music is the universal language, man. It's all about real emotion. And there's just something real about, no matter, even in the happiest moments, there's something about that raw emotion that a sad country song brings out, and I'm with you, man. I'd be having the most beautiful day ever, grilling out in the woods, whatever, and I'm listening to Does He Love You by Reba.
Right. I'm with you, man. 100%. Look, there's a time and a place for a beer drinking and truck and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely a place for it, no doubt. But there's just something about just getting those feels, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And kind of going back in time a little bit. I want to do some quick fire questions for you. Number one, if you had to pick one artist from the 90s to kick back and have beers with, okay? But you got to choose. I'm going to give you 2. Let's do George Strait or Alan Jackson. You can only pick one.
George Strait.
Why?
I think just watching his career, I love obviously his music and stuff, and I would just love to know kind of in that beginning stages of his career and early ties in Greenhall in Texas and kind of what that was. I look at artists like him in all genres and go, man, obviously the songs, George Strait's got more swag than anybody else we know. The dude's just got it. No one else can stand behind a microphone stand, sing those songs like that and just make thousands of people lose their mind, But I would love to talk to him about those early days in Texas and see, what was it always that way? Obviously there's different, there's struggles along the path, but where was it for him that it clicked, and what was it? Was it a moment? Was it a song? These are things that I've thought of before. So George Strait for sure. And then I'd have him call Alan. No.
And then he's got to come over and then we're getting crazy. All right. Number 2, what's the last TV show that you've binged since we're all kind of still stuck doing this thing?
Last TV show I binged, F is for Family on Netflix.
It's good. It's a good show, man. It is.
It is good. It is good. It's one of the. I'm a big Bill Burr fan as a comedian. So I think my sister turned me on to that, or somebody did, and I just binge watched the last season of it. So
Good show. Number 3, who's the first artist that you as a fan would like to see on stage? Maybe you're doing a show with him or whatever it is, but as a fan of country music and performing, who's the first artist you want to be able to see once we can all get back out there and do that again?
Oh, man, probably Eric Church. I
Yeah.
love, I've always obviously been a big fan of his, but I feel like what he brings as an entertainer is something all of us, no matter what genre you're in, no matter male, female, whatever. I think watching Eric Church is something everybody should do. I think he's been pushing or kicking down doors and pushing the envelope or whatever it is for his whole career, and in such a great, inspiring way. I feel like his shows are so broad and just so it's such entertaining. No, very few people can do what he's doing. He's doing Springsteen type stuff,
Right.
where
Right.
no pun intended to a song, but he's literally doing Bruce Springsteen type stuff where he's playing for 3 hours, having a break in between or whatever you call it. It's just I think he'd be one of the. I would just love to. If I could see him first and then go out on tour, I think it'd be a real big, inspiring.
Do you kind of take notes when you're doing a show with other artists, right? Because you've been doing this for a long time and you've been doing it successfully for a long time. So it's kind of like you don't necessarily need to sit there and take notes, but as you watch someone like Eric Church or, I don't know, maybe it's a Garth Brooks or, whoever you want to put out there. Do you sit side stage and go, all right, I see what they just did and why they did that. And I'm going to try to do my own thing, but take a piece of that with me.
Absolutely, man. I don't take this stuff for granted at all. And when we're on the road, I always try to remember the fact that I was a 12-year-old kid learning a G chord, dreaming of the fact that maybe one day, a couple people might show up, or maybe I'm just playing bars in Florida. I don't know, but I just want to play music. And how do we make that happen? To have a front row seat to, I've toured with Darius Rucker, Kip Moore, Brantley Gilbert, Sam Hunt. To sit side stage, have a front row seat to class and to learn. I think if you're to open an act, that's your job, is to stand side stage on Monitor World or front of house and study the headliner that is doing what you're still aspiring to do and to be. And when we were on that Darius tour, me and Dan and Shay would stand side stage, or sometimes Shay and I would bring a 24 case of Bud Light to the front of house and watch Darius, and because you get those moments. You're a student, you know what I mean, and my goal is to be playing amphitheaters and arenas, and if I get a chance to sit side stage and to learn, and then afterwards talk and hang out with these guys, become friends, and with people that I grew up listening to, I encourage anybody to watch watch who you're opening for, watch who you're on stage with. Man, watch your openers, because just because someone's going on before you doesn't, you know what I mean? Like they're going to be doing something cool, man. Like if you're headlining, watch those shows. Darius watched all ours, Brantley watched ours, and then would talk to us about what he think. Brantley and I would talk about what we could do better or what we could do different, or whatever. And I just think it's inspiring, and you're never not learning. You're never that good to where you're not going to learn from somebody else.
I think it's really well said. And you made a point in there that I say to people all the time. My wife and I, we love to go to shows. That's when people say, what's your hobby? Going to shows, man. I love to go see live country music anywhere, wherever it is. I want to be there. And I always get there early too, because I feel like the opening acts, it's like college football. Like the opening act is working a little bit harder because they're trying to get to that headline status. And so, there's a reason why people watch college football, and a lot of people like it, a little bit better than the pros, because the kids are trying to get to that pro status, and not that the opening acts aren't professionals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
They're a little bit hungrier because they're trying to get there,
Absolutely, man. And anybody showing up early, for those guys. I mean, remember, Darius Rucker was opening for people at some time, Kenny Chesney was opening for George Strait first to three, years ago. And how many people would have loved to say they saw Kenny Chesney, to a couple thousand people back in the day, and I think anytime fans can get there early and support the artists going on, you just never know who you're going to discover, but you never know, coming from somebody that's been a first to three, direct support, been in those slots. Man, it means a lot when people show up, and you might have one hit at radio, might not have anything out yet, and people show up and try to invest in your career. It just gives you that little bit of confidence and that little boost of like, okay, cool. Maybe we're doing something right here.
Absolutely. Michael Ray, thank you so much for the time, man. We're going to play Whiskey and Rain. Can't wait to hear what you got on this album and who the collabs are with. I'm pumped, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Brother, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Bye-bye.